Hey guys, it's Allison again, and I'm back with another slow cooker meal. This one is a tad bit different than the rest that we've seen in this session. So this is spaghetti squash lo mein, and I've got my freezer bag along with my label. Now I do have a big note to say see recipe because this has some complicated steps to it. So I'll kind of walk you through those as I get it ready to go. So you do need to make your own meatballs. These are out of ground pork, a couple of eggs, some panko breadcrumbs, and some onion powder. So I'm gonna grab my tongs and I'm going to transfer the meatballs from the parchment paper to the bottom of the bag. And we're gonna keep them stored flat. Now, this calls for spaghetti squash clearly, but the recipe says you can freeze it. I never have. This is my spaghetti squash. So I will make this recipe relatively soon, considering I already have this spaghetti squash. The day that I go to cook it, I'm actually going to stick the entire spaghetti squash in the slow cooker with all of these ingredients. So this will sit in the slow cooker as a whole piece. I'm not cutting it, I'm not puncturing it. It will go into the slow cooker next to it I will add the meatballs along with the rest of the stuff that I'm adding in this bag and some frozen vegetables. So you can freeze your spaghetti squash, but I don't find it necessary. I'll make this in the next couple of weeks while this is still fresh. So I've got the meatballs in there. Now I made these myself from scratch with the ingredients that are listed on the recipe link. In addition to the meatballs, we are going to add 4 cloves of garlic that's been minced. I'm gonna put that right at the top of the bag. Kind of spread it out a little bit. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of liquid amino soy sauce to the bag. Okay, it's gonna go down into the meatballs with the garlic. And then I'm gonna need 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. So this is just sesame chili oil, super good. 2 tablespoons of this. Now the chili oil is a bit spicier than the traditional sesame oil. You can do traditional sesame oil as well. This is not too spicy for us, so I go ahead and add it for just a little bit of kick of flavor. Okay, now it also calls for some fresh ginger root. I do not cook the ginger root in this recipe, but I left it in the ingredients for those that like it. You could also do powdered ginger if you chose. So I'm gonna get all the air out of this. So this is the only thing that you prep to freeze, and it's basically your meatballs, right? And so I'm just kind of coating the garlic and the soy sauce here, and I'm gonna lay it flat and get the meatballs spread back out, okay? Now I'm gonna lift it back up and get some more of that air out of here, as much as I can get. Lay it flat. Squeeze it out gently so you don't squish the meatballs, okay? And this is actually ready for the freezer, just like this, flat. Now, the day you need to cook it, this is where I wanna really walk you through the steps. So on the day that you wanna cook it, you're going to get this out of the freezer and let it thaw the night before in your refrigerator. So the morning of, you'll pull this out of your refrigerator. You will grab your spaghetti squash. Now you will, inside of your crock pot, once you line it with a slow cooker bag, you're going to add your whole spaghetti squash along with these meatballs and a bag of frozen stir-fry vegetables. I do the sugar snap stir-fry, but there's one with broccoli and water chestnuts. You choose whichever stir-fry veggie mix you prefer. So all of this goes into the slow cooker together, and it is going to cook on low for 6 hours. At the end of that time, you're going to grab these tongs, or a pair of tongs, and you're going to remove the spaghetti squash out of the slow cooker. It is going to be hot, hot, hot. So let it cool to the touch. Once it's cooled to the touch, these items are still remaining in the slow cooker, mind you. You're going to cut the squash lengthwise once it's cooked and hot. So it's cool, it's cooked, it's hot, you've cooled it off. You're gonna cut it lengthwise. You're gonna scoop out the seeds that are in the middle like a pumpkin, and then you're going to kind of scoop all of the guts out of the spaghetti squash and put it back into the crock pot. So spaghetti squash comes out like noodles. So you're then gonna, with your tongs, add it back into the slow cooker with the meatballs and the vegetables that have been cooking all day. And then you're gonna just cook it for about 30 more minutes, and it's perfect. And at that point, you just kind of spoon it out into a dish. Brown rice is a delicious addition to this meal. If your kids really like rice with their Asian food, or this right here is a perfect meal in and of itself. So I know it's a little bit more complicated, but I promise you, follow the recipe step by step the day you want to cook it, and you cannot fail. It is delicious and just such a healthier way to get one of our favorite Chinese meals cooked at home. So I hope you guys give this one a try, and I'll be back shortly with another recipe. I'll see y'all in a bit. Bye, y'all.